Good morning. Good morning, Business Athlete Nation. Hey, LinkedIn's adding some new revenue streams if you are a business person. Nicole Bernard's joining us. I gave her the wrong link this morning, I think. So she's just making her way into the right door. She moved into the left door. And sometimes, left door, right door. Nicole made her way into the wrong door this morning. So she's on her way here this morning here in a few moments. I went for a walk this morning. Have you gone for a walk this morning yet? If you're thinking, you're laying there, you're sitting back having some coffee, you are asking yourself, what am I going to do this morning? I would invite you to go for a walk. That might be a good idea. So I am going to just get Nicole organized here. She's just popping into the lab. Like I said, I gave her the code to the wrong door. So Nicole's here joining me this morning. All right, kid.
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you. I went for a walk this morning.
I saw that. It looks cold.
Yes. Little cold. This is for sure. It was what 3 degrees Celsius.
Oh, that's chilly.
Yeah, so let's convert that for my American friends. So convert 3 Celsius to Fahrenheit, Nicole Bernard. And that is a balmy 37.4 degrees.
Oh. Okay, that's not as cold as 3 as I was thinking in my mind. But still.
Yes, how does that feel for you this morning? Is that like cold? Is that warm? Are you motivated by that temperature?
I'm not scared by that temperature. But I'm not like racing out the door. I'm trying to think of we're actually like in the 30s in the morning still here.
There you go. Yeah, well, it is middle of the night where you are, so.
Well, that is true.
This is absolutely true. Hey, so this morning we got a few things to talk about. I know. So we got Natasha Walsh joining us this morning.
Yay, I'm excited. She looks amazing.
She does, yeah. So, I reached out to Natasha a couple weeks ago on LinkedIn, and she popped in last night. And she's like, "Oh, hey, I just saw this message. I can join." I'm like, well, "Why don't you join us tomorrow morning?" She's like, "Okay, 8:00." I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Pacific time?"
Yeah. Eastern?
I go, "No, Eastern." She's like, "Oh." I said, "But I have a solution for you." You know my solution, eh, Nicole? I'm like, "Oh, you can come at 8:30 Eastern time."
Oh.
She's like, "Okay, great." So she's joining us.
It's way less painful.
Yeah. She's joining us at the bottom of the hour, Natasha Walsh. She gave me a creator for Creator Spotlight. So
awesome.
At about the 45-minute mark, I expect we're going to unveil the Creator Spotlight. I love doing yesterday's. I like when somebody sees that comment and they kind of get it out of the blue, right? So benefits of coffee. Yes.
I can talk at this point in the morning.
I have. I'm going to pull it up. So let's talk about. So you know what? Maybe that's just a great place for us to start. How many cups of coffee do you start your day with?
2.
And that's it? You're done after that?
Yeah, I'm done in the morning after that. I have one in the afternoon, like a small cup. But I was thinking it's funny. I was thinking that the other day. I was like, it doesn't really do much for me, so I could probably erase that afternoon one. But yeah, definitely 2 full in the morning.
So, some scientific studies. We won't dig so far as to how far the scientific studies went, but we like to provide motivational content, inspiring content to get you going in your morning. And I know some of you are dipping into your coffee this morning. So, I was doing my little reading this morning, like I like to read, and because I can read, Nicole, I do have the ability to read. Let me just change my music here. So I don't read books. We know that. I put the old Audible on. I put the old, I read on the internet. Although I'll tell you, content on the internet is getting worse.
Yeah, well, there's so much of it, right? And yeah.
Oh, is there a lot of
people not trying as hard?
Yeah, so I'll tell you something. As a nerd growing up with the internet, I was so determined to read all of it.
Seems ambitious.
I do. Do you think? I was one of those that would get frustrated when I couldn't. So I loved reading the newspaper growing up, and then I would love to start from the beginning and end it all. So I've read the newspaper, right? So I feel like I've completed the book. Right? The whole thing. Well, I'd start at the beginning. I wouldn't read every article, Nicole Bernard, but I would, scan headlines, read all. But the point is, when the paper was done, I felt like I was done reading the news.
Mhm.
But you see, when I was first introduced to the internet, I was really frustrated because it never ended.
Right.
I was like, how do I know that I've read all the news? How do I know that my brain is full? I never knew, so I just kept reading more.
Only like 5 million pages left to go.
Yeah, just maybe a few, 100%. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. The biggest, so the joke amongst the male community, I will crack this joke on the air, but the big joke is that if you pay for pornography online, you've absolutely failed the internet. Like you've failed in life. It's like, oh, really? Because everything is free. So why would you be paying for anyways? The benefits of coffee. Let's go from the benefits of not paying anyways to coffee. So the benefits of coffee are increased energy levels. Do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that one.
I notice it. I absolutely notice it. Reduced tiredness. We know that.
While I'm drinking it, for sure.
Yes. And it helps with short-term memory and all that and so forth. But here is the benefits that the research talks about, which is coffee, Nicole, may reduce the risk of stroke.
Really?
Yep. There was a study published in the journal Circulation aimed to explore the possible connection between coffee intake and stroke risk among women. The researchers looked at data from more than 83,000 women, and they tracked their coffee consumption habits and monitored stroke incidents over a period of time. And what Nicole, researchers found that the moderate coffee consumption was not linked to higher risk amongst women. In fact, women who drank moderate amounts of daily coffee were found to reduce the risk of stroke by 20%.
Wow, that's a big percentage.
As compared to women who don't drink coffee. So, you know what we like to do here in the lab, Nicole? Make recommendations, make suggestions, float ideas that we read. We are not the fact police.
No.
Nope. Nope, not at all. I will find content that I read that I believe is trustworthy. I will dig behind the covers, make sure it's coming from a reputable source, not from maybe some Yahoo on Rumble. Yeah, nothing wrong with Rumble, but just, I'm just maybe throwing that out there. And this was a study done from the university here in California. All right, so coffee may also cut down your risk of cancer and diabetes.
Really? See, okay, because I feel like things like coffee, bacon, chocolate, all the great like wine things in life. Like I feel like these studies come out every few years. Like they're either really bad for you or really good for you. And so I don't know. But I don't really pay attention to either side.
Yes. But those studies, my friend, create morning show content for us to talk about.
Oh, it's true. Okay. Yes. Okay. I love coffee. Coffee's great.
So in a year from now, we will have, I got a schedule, April 18th, 2025.
We'll go back the other way.
April 18th, 2025. 3 reasons coffee's not good for you. Although I got to tell you, when you mentioned chocolate, coffee, bacon, wine, all those things, I started getting goosebumps. My endorphins started ramping up because I figured, oh my God, I like, and Lauren this morning is like, hey, how about cheese nips for dinner today? I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just, yeah.
What are cheese nips? Like, are they the crackers?
It's a good question. Yeah. So yes, they are crackers, but here in Canada, here in Manitoba specifically, we have a restaurant called Salisbury House. It's old school. Nicole, when you come to visit me, I'm taking you to Salisbury House. It's like stepping into 1978 diner, man. Like it's just.
Oh, I love a diner.
And Tuesdays, they have cheap Tuesdays. So because I'm ancient, like I get like almost like I'm close to the ancient like receipt, right? So Nicole and I go, sorry, Lauren and I go, and we sit with all these ancient people, and they charge you $2 for a hamburger.
What?
Yeah,
that's
and
amazing.
$2. It is, and $2 for a cheese nip. What's a cheese nip? It's like a fried egg with some mayonnaise with some cheese on a nice brioche bun.
Okay. I want one of those.
Right? Yeah. So you're waking up with us this morning and you're hungry. Go eat. Go eat. Yeah. Go have your coffee and go and eat with us. So apparently, according to a University of Catania in Italy, a comprehensive super study combining the results of 127 random trials and observational studies on. Well, somebody's phoning me right now. I should answer it on the air, right?
Sure.
We talked yesterday about pranking people. Hey, Mom, if you're listening right now, I'm going to call you one morning on the air. I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to bring my mom or dad on. Anyways, let's stay on the study. Sorry, nation. We got a bunch of people listening right now. I'm like, sorry. Listen, I went for a walk this morning. I'm on my third cup of coffee, and I'm just trying to stay focused. So University in Catania in Italy, Nicole, they conducted a comprehensive super study, 127 random trials. And then they reported in the Washington Post that the results of the super study suggest that coffee consumption can lower the risk of common cancers like breast, colorectal, colon, endometrial, and prostate by 2 to 20%, depending on the type of cancer.
Wow.
And awesome. Coffee also appears to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease by 5% and type 2 diabetes and Parkinson's by around 30%.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It is. Moreover, people who drink coffee seem to have a lower death rate. So I guess the question is, who doesn't want to live longer? Why would you not want to drink coffee?
Yeah, and it's just so good.
I just started drinking coffee 7 years ago when I met Lauren.
Really? I actually started drinking coffee however long the date, 2008. I used to be like a Dr. Pepper addict, and I've been clean since 2008, and I switched to coffee.
Oh, dude. So you Dr. Pepper. I was Coke Zero addict. I was like, okay, I got to get the caffeine somehow. Yeah, it was that approach, right? But yeah, I met Lauren, and I remember the first time she stayed over. She's like, oh, so where's your coffee machine? We got to go to Canadian Tire, my dear. So went to Canadian Tire and picked up the old Keurig, and I haven't looked back since. I love my coffee. Just love my coffee. All right, so last one, Nicole. Before we jump into our accountability check-in for this morning, coffee may decrease your risk of getting Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's?
Yep, Alzheimer's. Yeah, I might have not pronounced that correctly, but research has shown that coffee consumption can positively affect fat storage, gut health, which can help you lose weight. In fact, a review of 12 studies found that men who increased their coffee intake experienced a reduction in body fat. Similarly, a study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that women who consume more coffee had lower levels of body fat. If exercising to lose weight is a problem, there is hope. Another study found that people who had 1 to 2 days are less likely to get Alzheimer's disease. So there are certainly benefits this morning of drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's like magic.
It's like magic. Yes. Hello, Jonathan Pritchard. Thinking about Jonathan this morning. Jonathan was a guest on the show. Jonathan is a magician, a mentalist. Goes around, does corporate stuff with businesses and helps them mentally improve. So there's your 3 benefits of coffee this morning. So drink coffee. Bottom line, just drink some coffee to get your day going. What a great way to start your day. We are 15 minutes into the show. Why don't we work our way? I'm going to make a little pivot here on the show. We are going to talk in a moment about our accountability check-in this morning. And it talks about the kindness of leadership, Nicole. And it talks about what is real leadership? What do you think real leadership is?
When I think of I don't know. So a few things come to mind, just leading by example. Have you ever read the book by Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership?
I have not, no. I don't remember. Is it on the internet? If it's on the internet, I'll read it. But if it's a book,
it's on Audible. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good place for me to start.
It's so good. It's Jocko and Leif Babin, I think his name, and it correlates their stories of being they're Navy SEALs, and so it's how they are in Ramadi, which was the worst urban combat ever. And it takes those situations and it breaks it down into how you can, so use those same principles in life and business. So I think that extreme ownership of not blaming anyone else, taking it all on you.
Yes.
The epitome of a good leader.
Isn't that true though, right? Taking it all, right? And owning it, right? So
yes.
I'll throw you something to consider for a leader. How about real leadership is love and kindness in action?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, being patient. Because, you see a lot of people get annoyed quickly when people don't get it. So being able to be there and coach and just be there.
Yeah, exactly. In my experience, Real leaders lead with heart. It's not just about making decisions, giving directions. Okay, Nicole, it's time to go up the mountain. No, it's about understanding where Nicole's at in her journey, giving heart, giving direction, and then encouraging and empowering, right? It's about fostering an environment where empathy and kindness aren't just encouraged, but expected.
Yes.
Right? If you're a leader, Nicole, your real job, here's the real job of a leader. Your real job is to help your team develop to their full potential, create space where everyone feels valued and empowered. And man, in my experience, if you can get that right, business will boom.
Yep.
You know, support is stronger than command. Think about that, right? So if you're listening to this right now and you're pondering your day and you got a team that you're leading, support is stronger than command.
I love that.
It is, yes. And then I'll tie into that, Nicole, which is empathy. Without a doubt, empathy outperforms authority. Every time. So, you know, and I think an exceptionally strong leader can wrap empathy within authority and redefining what authority is. When you look at authority and empathy, they're spelled very similarly, right? So when you start thinking about how they are, and in my point of view, an incredible leader that shows authority is extremely empathetic.
For sure.
That's how you get humans to move for you.
Yeah, it's understanding humans and having a relationship with them, you know, instead of just like barking orders or I don't know, micromanaging or things like that.
Understanding relationship with them. Isn't that great? You know, I'm glad you raised that too. Great segue. You didn't even know I was going to say this, but great segue, relationships. I've been having people cold call me these days, and I've been having these conversations with my former business partner, with Shake and Mo. I think Mo's tuning in this morning. I'm actually kind of excited too. I kind of got the old band back together. I knocked on Maurice's door earlier this week. I said, doom, doom, doom. I'm like, hey. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I kind of need some help. The lab is just taking off, man. I'm like, I got all these things going on and I'm running out of time in my day. He's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, can I get some help in here? So the old band is getting a little back together. The new media company, the Business Athlete Performance Lab, is on its way. So I'm excited about that. But where was I going with this? We were talking about relationships. I get these cold calls in my LinkedIn inbox, and it's just immediate sell.
Yeah, a pitch slap.
Hey, Ken, what is shaking? Michael Konetsky, a pitch slap. I like that, Nicole. Good one. That's great. You know what you know how I respond these days? True story.
And you actually respond? Good for you. I'm just like, whatever.
Wait till you see how I respond. So, and here's my point of view, because I certainly heard Nat Berman's comments around AI generated content, and sometimes they have people with English languages issues, and we need support to do that, which I'm totally cool with. I got all the time in the world for that. But what I find fascinating is when nobody takes the time to get to know me, especially in 2024. So I typically respond with this. It's the 3-letter sentence that's the ultimate conversation starter. Nicole Bernard. Who are you?
I like it.
Well, no, but it's true though.
Right.
Because in 2024, I'm going to tell everybody this right now. If you're tuning in and you want to sell to me, and I'm going to suspect if you want to sell to Nicole, get to know us. We are we stream every single day, at least an hour, and Nicole's generating content throughout the day. I'm generating content throughout the day. We actually are somewhat ubiquitous. So, on LinkedIn. So, if you want to sell me something or approach me or Nicole, the invitation is open. But honest to God, come and engage with us. Come and get to know our story. Come and engage with the content. Come contribute to the content. Come have a dialogue with us. Because Nicole, you started our conversation with what? A relationship. Right? Build a relationship with me. Build a relationship with Nicole. And you know what? Even if it doesn't turn into a sell, that's okay. Because we're humans now connected, and maybe we can benefit each other along the way. Right? So I don't know. And I think some people that know me would be going, Keith, are you actually saying this? I am, because I'm the most aggressive salesperson. I'm knocking on doors left and right. Mm-hmm. However, what I've learned, Nicole, since I've come back into the world of growing business again, it is more relationship than ever before.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw two words you and I've been talking a lot about lately. It's more personal brand than ever before.
Yep, it is.
Like, I really want to know who Nicole Bernard is. And I have the ability today to get to know who Nicole is. It's not about surfing all the socials and doing my diligence. It's about maybe popping into LinkedIn, popping on some of the socials and seeing who she is, the way she puts herself out there, looking at her accomplishments, looking at her social proof, looking at how she interacts, looking at how she communicates. And then from that, I get to know who Nicole is. Not a one-page resume. I get to get a real understanding of who she is as a human being. And then as a result, I can start forming a relationship with your content.
Yeah.
And then ideally a relationship with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start a direct message of just a conversation, not a sale,
Boom. A conversation. Exactly. All right. So listen, we are 23 minutes into the show. I will tell you again, I stress about these things because sometimes we don't have guests. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to talk about for the whole hour? And next thing you know, we're just...
That's funny. You think we wouldn't have enough to talk about?
I know. Exactly. So let's do this. Let's do a quick break. I'm going to reset up another segment coming up, and then hold on a second here, Nation. I want to I want to set up another segment, and then we're going to welcome in Natasha Wallstra, and then we're going to get into the creator spotlight. So, but hang tight before we go anywhere. I'm a little bit. How was your day yesterday, by the way?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what happened. Oh yeah, got a lot of work done. So that always feels good.
That's a good thing. That's an absolutely good thing.
Kids are back in school. How about you?
My day was very productive. Had a lot of stuff going on because today's back to back. I put that post out there saying, hey, who wants to come and hang out with us in the lab? Well, people are knocking on my door saying, hey, what's going on? I like to knock on the door. Speaking of Nicole, you know who came knocked on the door, eh? Shannon Houchin.
Oh, yay. I love Shannon.
So do I. Hey, Nation, if you want to start a business... Oh, I know. Hold on. Nicole's going to get all giddy here. I'm going to get texts all day after what I'm going to say next. She's going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to go sell plums or peaches. Shannon Houchin, the best business operator that I've ever met in my life. The simplest thing. She found a peach stand and turned it into multi-millions of dollars in multi-peach stands around the planet. Shannon, if you're tuning in right now, I love your business. I love you and I love what you're doing. You and Finn, come back and see us anytime. But Shannon, I'm going to knock on your door. I think we can do some work together. I got some ideas on how we maybe can help her out. So, but here's what I did want to set up. So LinkedIn, Nicole, listen, go to break, refresh coffee because it's beneficial to us. Go get your coffee refresh. When we come back, I want to tell Nation, LinkedIn's making changes to their business. And if you're a business owner, you're going to want to pay attention coming up because we're going to give you some tips on how LinkedIn can help you improve your business. So you will get your coffee refresh. I'm going to set that segment up and we'll be back in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Hang tight. All right, I see more of you showing up, so I figured I'd get the hell out of the break and welcome you to the lab this morning. Good morning, Nation. You got Keith and Nicole here. Nicole's getting that coffee refreshed. Nicole's like, you got out of the break early. Yeah, I did. I left the break a little early. I saw people showing up. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to go greet them. I'm going to go greet them at the door. So listen, for those of you that have been coming back regularly, I'm very grateful. I'm extremely grateful for your support. Extremely grateful you guys keep tuning in to the show. I know that when Nicole and I launched this thing a few weeks back, I didn't know who was going to show up. I didn't know if one of you was going to show up, 10 of you was going to show up. And slowly but surely, much of you are showing up along the way. And I am forever grateful for that. So the fact you guys are showing up, paying attention to what we're doing is throwing fuel onto what we continue to build here in the lab, which is a modern day media company. Because here's what I'm convinced of. We all listening and contributing and being a part of the show, we still all want to consume the content. I just think what's happening, and we know the media industry is up in a kerfuffle. People are getting laid off and jobs are being cut. But the reality is, everyone, is that people still want the content. The difference is the cost to create that content is different, right? So our ambition is to keep giving you, motivating and inspiring news to get your day going, get yourself going, and help maybe help you be more accountable and help you get to your goals. Nicole, before we break, I said that LinkedIn was got some stuff happening for business owners. So, obviously we are spending a lot of time in the lab working in LinkedIn and working on building our business and helping our customers, grow inside of LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is expanding revenue streams with premium company page subscriptions featuring AI content creation. So what does that mean, Nicole?
Yeah.
LinkedIn's exploring a fresh avenue to bolster its earnings by introducing a premium company page subscription. So if you're a company page owner, they're going to be adding some new tools for you to grow your company page. And here's what I find interesting about the company page. We all know that people buy from people. I think I'm not going to say less brands, but people are buying from people more than ever. And I know the LinkedIn algorithm really much favors the human connection. And your company page, you need to be super active, super aggressive, and super weaved into your strategy to get some activity around it. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to suspect that LinkedIn's going to throw a little more juice, a little more fire onto this activity over there so that they can generate new revenue, throw some more opportunity on that. But one thing that stood out for me here, Nicole, is that the initiative aligns with LinkedIn's broader strategy of becoming more than just a professional networking platform, but also resources for businesses looking to market themselves effectively. But here's the thing, Nicole, and we got Natasha joining us here in a moment. I can see her in the green room over there. Here's the thing. It's one of the only platforms on the whole internets. Is that plural? Internets? Yeah.
Interwebs. Yeah.
Webs, yeah. The www. Remember we said that? Yeah. The only one that's linked to real human beings for the most part. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have Meta blue check marks all over the place. We get to Twitter, blue mark, check mark everywhere. But you think about LinkedIn. In my experience, most of the human beings, for the most part, are legitimately real. Yes, you got some bots, you got some fake stuff. But the moment that I see Nicole, I go and see who Nicole works for. I can see her content, see how she's posting, how regularly she's posting. It gives me a good indication that you're probably a real human being.
Right.
And in a world where we're questioning trust everywhere, and in a world where we're wondering where we're getting content everywhere, LinkedIn is positioning itself as a place where algorithms influence user discovery and misinformation spreads widely. LinkedIn aims to establish itself as a secure platform, which ultimately, nation, leads into what Keith and Nicole are doing, because our ambition is you wake up in the morning, we're going to give you stuff you can trust. And we're going to bring people in like Natasha Wallstra that you can trust. Because my belief is if we just keep showing up every single day, we get into that habit, that routine, that, Natasha, Nicole, is how you build trust.
Yeah, totally.
Natasha,
I call LinkedIn the source of truth, right? Like it is the only platform that is the source of truth, and like it's amazing.
Isn't it true? Natasha, thanks for joining us here today. We got connected quick and super fast. I don't know how many hours of sleep you got. I know you had a big call with I think some clients in China last night. So, and I know you're on the Pacific time zone. When I knocked on Natasha's door, Natasha's like, "Sure, I can join. Is that 8:00 Eastern time?" Like I said to Nicole, and I was like, "No, it's actually Pacific time." And so then I can see her face. She's like, "Oh my God, really?" And then I said to her,
"That is early."
Yeah. And then I said to her, Nicole, what I like to say to all of our guests, "Oh, but I got a solution for you." And she's like, "Oh, what's that?" I go, "Well, how about like 8:30 Eastern time?"
Really sleep in there. You really gave her some time.
Yeah. I know. I was like, how did he get me into this? I was only extra 30 minutes. And I woke up pretty much on time anyways.
So Natasha joins us from San Francisco. Natasha and I met, I believe, in the brand built community. Natasha, is that correct? Yes. Awesome community. Listen, Nat and Darren are looking for members. So if you are looking for an incredibly immersive community with exceptional human beings connecting, brand built is one you're going to want to think about. But Natasha joins us from San Francisco. She's all about owning your voice. And she's all about turning relationships into revenue through high integrity social selling, on LinkedIn. And Nicole Bernard, she's a podcast host times 2.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that is awesome. Natasha, I'm not going to hold it against you that you hold a podcast, because we like to do shows here today. We like to do shows.
You know what's funny is like I don't even know how I became a podcast host of 1, let alone 2, and it's because it's so hard being a host. I realized like I'm happy to be a guest all the time, but being a host, like there's a lot of work in that, even though it's not about you, right? Like it's still something that you have to lead the conversation, and it just, I've sweated through all my clothes my first episodes.
Same, yes.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's funny you mention that, because when I when I started this ambition of, okay, let's start a morning show, I thought, I'll just show up in the morning, have coffee, and have conversation. Well, then you get into it, and you're like, oh, right, I got to prepare for tomorrow morning. We need something to talk about. And then when this show ends, I'm like, all right, okay, 23 hours from now, we got to do it again.
So you guys are doing this every day.
This is a morning show that goes Monday to Friday across the globe. We are growing our audience. We are. Let me tell you how it happened, Natasha. So I was observing that people were interacting with my LinkedIn content first thing in the morning. Human habits, right? Old school humans got up, turned the radio on. Old school humans got up, turned the TV on, and woke up with connecting with the world. Well, as society has changed, we woke up, we log into X, we log into LinkedIn, we log into Instagram, we log into Facebook. We want to connect with human beings. We want to connect with human beings. So I said to myself, between 6 and 9 a.m., people want to connect with me. I wonder if I started streaming a morning show on this platform, so when somebody goes and clicks on me when I'm commenting on their profile, and they go, oh, hey, who's this Keith guy? They click on my profile, they come to my page, boom, I'm streaming, building audience. And then what happened, Natasha, is we showed up one day, a couple people showed up, and now we are 5 weeks into this, Nicole? Episode 28, I think? Episode 29? So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And more people keep showing up, Natasha, telling us we like waking up with you guys in the morning.
That's amazing. Nicole, how did you get dragged into this?
Yeah, it's good. It's partly my fault, too. I asked for an accountability partner, and if you ask Keith to hold you accountable, then damn, you're held accountable.
That's amazing.
Which is great.
So we're here doing our morning show and connecting with humans and building a brand new media company, Natasha. But enough about us. I brought you here to talk about you. I brought you here to shine a light on you, and I brought you here to talk about the fact that over the last decade, you unknowingly were building the blueprint to creating the most exciting thing you've done in your career. You left corporate to launch your own consulting business.
Yeah.
Wow. She's laughing. She's
I need to update that. That was like just as I was leaving the job I was in. I was like, yeah, I'm like doing this, this is crazy.
But I love that though, because there's a lot of people listening right now, Natasha, who are considering what you did.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have the courage to do what you did. And then you said, okay, I'm going to take all the lessons that I learned, all the wins, all the obstacles, and I'm going to create a program that helps leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs own voice, leverage expertise to drive influence in business growth and largely, I guess, social selling through LinkedIn. So Natasha, talk about your business, talk about how you help people, and talk about, what gets you out of bed every single morning to help people here on the platform.
Sure. Thank you for the intro. And thanks for having me. This is exciting. Why not do this? I love it. Yeah. I might take you guys back a little bit, because it's funny how like your past experiences all at the moment don't necessarily make sense. But now I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, yep, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Right. And it's why I'm so excited about it, because I did fail a lot with sales in general. Right. Like my first job as a SDR, where I had to cold call, smile and dial 100 dials a day. Right. I'm an introvert. I used to be super shy as well. So how I landed a job as an SDR was a terrible idea. But I'm really competitive. And so I had to find a way to hit my numbers and beat the boys. Right. And I couldn't do it through cold calling because I was crying every night practically. So discovered using LinkedIn. This is almost 8 years ago. And from there sort of just built a way to like connect, network, engage, and do it in a way that felt natural and authentic to me. And it turns out there's a lot of people that really hate selling. And over the years, right, like, from that role, I got into 3D printing space, and like, I'm not technical, I'm not an engineer, but I'm speaking to VPs of engineers, CTOs, like, why should they trust me, right? So I started to share what our CEO was doing and what our partners were doing. And, we worked with Adidas, Ford, Lamborghini. And so like sharing, credibility by association. So they may not know who we are, but they know who Carbon is, and they definitely don't know who I am, right? So they know who Adidas is. And so it's just one of those things that I started to build it in a way that I was building my personal brand without even realizing it. And so when a former manager and mentor of mine joined Forbes Books as CRO, she brought me on as director of sales, not because I have any idea about book publishing, but I understand the power of thought leadership and personal branding. So I totally drank the Kool-Aid and loved it. It was awesome. It brought me out to Charleston, lived there for 2 years, but I realized it doesn't matter how great your book is if you don't have an audience or community you're engaging with, no one's going to know about it, right? So since then, I've been on this mission trying to find a way to better serve the leaders I work with. And that's typically through like truly owning your voice. A lot of people have the stuff. They've got the book, they've got the brand, they've got everything. They just don't know how to take that and implement it, especially for ROI. And so once I started to, when I was at a strategy firm, spun off and started my own company, it was when like I kind of had an identity crisis because I thought I was in the personal branding space. Like that's what I help people, especially in the beginning with, but then it's all social selling. And so one of my clients introduced me as the most incredible sales coach that focuses on relationship building. I was like, well, that's interesting. Like I'm a sales coach. Like I always told I was shit at sales, So, anyway, so it's been a fun process and understanding of like what it is that I'm creating here. And I'm now in the process of like productizing the system and working with teams. And it's just been a really cool experience, but, I definitely wasn't necessarily like planning any of it. I was in a place where I realized, I wasn't happy and I didn't like where I was working. And it's like, why am I still working for these idiots? And so I decided to spin off, and that was it. So I've been building the plane while flying it. It's been a very interesting experience.
I've been building the plane while flying it. I love that because that is the attitude that I love having here in the lab, because that's difficult to do. A lot of people want to have the plane completed before they fly it. And you're like, no, I'm just going to start building it, flying it at the same time. Natasha, it's coincidental, ironic. I always get confused by Alanis Morissette's comparisons there. But whether it's coincidental or ironic that you're here this morning, Nicole and I were chatting before you showed up about selling in today's world. And when somebody cold calls me on LinkedIn that I've never engaged with, they don't know nothing about me, they just all of a sudden go, bleh. I just say, who are you?
Yeah.
Because I believe that we live in a world now where I could get to know you, Natasha, before you should sell to me. Am I wrong with that approach as a buyer?
100%. The whole purpose of your profile is to like build trust before, during, and after conversations, right? And you can do that through like interacting, actually being like human, right?
But let's go on this, because many get this wrong. Many go right to the sell. Many go right to the kill. Many go right to the sale. How did you teach yourself this whole idea of, I actually probably should engage with Keith for maybe a week or two, like his content, get inside of his conversations. And then when I see that the water is getting a little bit warm, I'm going to go and knock on his door and introduce myself. How did you realize that, Natasha?
Because I used to pitch slap. This is 8 years ago though, right? Like I look back, I've engaged with some people in the last couple of years where like, obviously I don't do that now, but I look back, I'm like, I'm so sorry I pitch slapped you. Oh my gosh, that was like real direct. I didn't even say hi practically. I'm just like, hey, there might be some synergies between our companies. Like, so I did it wrong initially years ago. And then I realized like, wait, this doesn't even feel good either. So why don't I start to like, actually like find other commonalities here, because this is before people were really posting too much.
Yes.
Right. And so that was when I was like, okay, there's gotta be something else. And so finding those like whatever commonalities there could be there, or common connections, right? Like that's sort of what I would start to do. But once you start to create content, that just changes everything too. Right?
Yes. Yeah. You know what's different for me, Natasha, is I'm, as I always tease with Nicole, like I'm ancient. Like I was around like when we used like rocks and tried to write shit on like on stone.
Dinosaurs.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I was been around for a long time, right? So I learned how to sell by knocking on doors, Natasha. The whole idea, you drive to a building and you walk up to a door and you're okay, so knock on that door, walk in and introduce yourself to the gatekeeper. That was back in the day when there was people sitting at the front of the desk when we went to the office, right? So I would go to the door, I'd knock on the door, I'd try to get to the right person. And then they leave the door and go to the left door. And then you quickly realize that that's changing in today's world. They're like, no, you're not welcome into my building, Keith. with digital personalities and digital media, social media everywhere, the ability to connect with humans in advance is so easy now. But yet we are lazy to just go, I'm going to go spam 1,000 people and play the law of numbers. That still is the approach for many, isn't it, Natasha?
It is. Yeah. That's why I'm excited to be working more with like actual sales teams and not just one-on-one coaching that I've been doing, because there are so many teams that are stuck in this traditional method and they're still measured by metrics and activity, how many cold calls, how many emails, and like that needs to change. Right. Because you're just not going to stand. There's so much noise out there. People aren't even checking their inbox anymore. Right. Let alone now their LinkedIn inbox, that's being spammed too. Right.
Yes.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, are they trained like that, or are they just, like Keith said, lazy? Like, I just don't understand why anybody would think that would be such a great idea to go that route.
It's just the way it's always been done. Like sales is still, there's a lot of like, and which is crazy, right? That mindset, like doing things as it's always been done. It's just the traditional way of looking at how it was. And it was like this for years, right? Before, we're actually going back to how things used to be, like relationship driven, before we had automation and mass emailing, right? You had to go and talk to people. Whereas like we got super lazy and made it easier for us, but worse for the buyer.
Right.
Yeah. It does still exist though. And it's because I see it and I still see it. So I'm hoping, and even as we're selling here in the lab, I'm noticing that the approach is very different. It's like, no, let's go build some relationships. And then when the door's open, we're going to ask for the sale. So Natasha, let's, before we come back to you, we'll come back to you after our segment coming up here. We have Creator Spotlight. So Creator Spotlight, Natasha, for the uninformed, is where Keith and Nicole take a light, the biggest light imaginable, go look through the valleys and mountains of LinkedIn, and we go, oh, we like what that person's doing. And then we shine a light on them and draw a bunch of attention to the work that we're doing and celebrate them. And typically they don't know, which is the best part, so that we then can create some content from this conversation, and then we post it after the show and celebrate them and like, oh my God, they talked about us in the morning show this morning. So last night when you and I connected, I said, Natasha, who would you like to nominate for today's Creator Spotlight? And you said to me, Keith, I want to nominate Lucy Lachaud. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Woohoo. Sorry.
Nicole, I got to get the sound effects here. So, Lucy, I will have sound effects next time we celebrate you with cheers and everything. But Natasha, why did you nominate Lucy Lachaud? She's great paycheck, crap personal life, turning high performers with crap personal life into fulfilled and inspired leaders using self-mastery. She's from the Rich and Happy Club UAE, authentic performance coaching. She's from the Dubai United Emirates. Natasha, why did you choose Lucy Lachaud to be our Creator Spotlight today?
She's just so dang positive, right? Like she's taking like something that a lot of us have experienced, like when you're not happy with where you are in your life and like those things you tell yourself over and over and over again, and then gives you really like actionable steps to change the way you think and the way you are. And it's just like, every time I see her post, I'm like, dang, that's like so good. And it's all relatable, right? It's super positive. It just like, it's been amazing. And she's also, you know, left corporate, started her own thing, moved around. Like she's just done things very differently. And I very much appreciate her. We connected last year on LinkedIn and been sort of practicing reciprocity commenting, you know, since then. And she actually just launched a program yesterday that I know she's been working on for a long time. So the timing was perfect to put a highlight on her.
Oh, that's when you told me she launched a program yesterday, I'm like, yes, let's sign the light on Lucy. So it looks like she launched a program, Find Purpose Beyond Career in 40 days. Wow. So I like that too, right? She hasn't picked 30. Nicole, she hasn't picked 100. She's like, no, 40 days. Right. I like that. People choose, people have their reasons for their numbers, but it looks like Lucy's launched a brand new product. You can check her out at Lucy-Lachaud on LinkedIn. But Natasha, when you introduced me to her last night, I went to her about, and what struck me was as I got kind of towards the end of her about, which was I was craving connection, but I didn't know where to start until one day I decided to change my life. And here's what I did. She wrote down 3 things. I started to ask myself the right question about what do I really want, not what looks good on paper. That's exceptional. I aligned my choices with what I wanted, not based on how it would look like from others. And I changed my lifestyle and changed the way I was living. I stopped judging everyone, including myself, and I take more time for what matters to me. she laid it out there, and she clearly put herself first. And today I help high performers with crap personal lives to find back a sense of purpose, create more meaningful relationships, and live with joy through coaching programs in the RNH Club. So that is Lucy Lachaud launching a brand new program today, Finding Purpose. I would encourage you to check out her profile. Natasha, what else would you offer up for Lucy?
What else would I offer? Just connect with her. She loves engaging and connecting with people.
Awesome.
So she's someone for sure. Yeah.
That's excellent. And don't be shy. We will not be shy to connect with Lucy. And one thing that I like with Lucy here is that she talked about, what do I really want? Not what looks good on paper. And I teased the show here today, which is this whole idea of starting with the end in mind. And I think Lucy probably thinks very much the same way. She's like, here's your program 40 days out. And Nicole and Natasha, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you think with the end in mind when you start a goal? And before you answer, let me explain what I'm thinking about, or how I phrase it. I will often go through an exercise where I put myself in these shoes a year from now. So I can say to myself, okay, I've been around long enough because I'm ancient. I know how time feels. I know what September feels like. I know when spring feels like, when, we know what Christmas feels like. So 12 months from now, we know there's going to be a cycle of time that's going to happen. So I say to myself, okay, I want to have this accomplished in 12 months from now. And then I work backwards from there instead of working towards something. Do you guys think the same way or operate the same way?
No. I mean, I do think about the end goal, but I don't know. I give myself, I work towards it, give myself a deadline, and then like 80% of the way, then I pick up like the speed on it. Yeah. What about yourself, Natasha? So do you look at what you're going to achieve and work backwards, or do you start and then move towards it?
I'm working on that because it's one of those things, if you like the cliche phrase, right? If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? So I've always been really bad at planning and goal setting until recently, once I started my business too, like even just like working in the business, not on it. I'm like, wait a second, like what am I trying to do here? Right. And if you don't, I'm not going to get there if I don't figure that out. And so I've been trying to be better about that.
Interesting. I will offer some of my own insights and learnings is trying to put yourself in a mental frame of mind of imagining what 1 year from now feels like. And then saying to yourself, using words like, oh, wow, awesome. Christmas was really great this last year. And then, because if you say that, you kind of know what it feels like, using Christmas as a holding pattern. And then what have you accomplished by then? Okay, so if you're like, okay, well, by Christmas, this is going to have happened, this is going to have happened, this is going to have happened, right? So I know that in 12 months from now, there's certain things I'm not going to reveal publicly here, but things that I'm working on I'm going to be looking back at them going, wow, that was awesome. So when I was building my previous business, I would often sit with my team at the beginning of the year, Nicole and Natasha, and I would say, okay, guys, tomorrow's meeting, it's actually March 1st. Let's speak in the past. What did we accomplish this last year? Right? Because if you start thinking that way, what did we accomplish instead of what are we going to accomplish? What did we accomplish? Well, yeah, why? What did we accomplish? Right? It's a whole different mindset. I guarantee you it's going to unlock some different thinkings in your head.
I love that.
Start with the end in mind and ask yourself those questions. What did I instead of what am I going to?
I like that.
Isn't there a book on that, like Built to Sell or something like that? Like it's like whatever you want your business to be, and then it's like what you're saying, like you look backwards and then you start making your goals that way.
It's true, yeah. But I find it's purposeful. It's using words purposely, though, right? Like looking at milestones that are going to happen in your life. Natasha, do you have children, or do you have like family, or like within your world, like on a day-to-day basis, nephews and nieces, or?
Yeah, fiance, and I'm getting married in October. So
congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's all. So then there you go. So you're perfect for this. So October, there's a big milestone happening.
Yeah.
Right? So some of the things that I would encourage you, if I can offer some things to think about, is okay. So it's October right now, Natasha.
Okay.
You were on the show October 25th. What has happened since? So what's happened since the first time you were on the show? So it's April right now. We're pretending it's October 25th right now. Don't tell me your wedding's the 26th.
It is.
Okay, so
I was like, I'm getting ready for the wedding right now.
So let's pretend it's Halloween. It's peanut butter chocolate day. You want to be asking yourself, what have I accomplished by now? Okay, well, I'm married, and I really believe if you start thinking and asking yourself these questions, okay, I'm already married right now. What's happened by now?
Okay.
Be thinking that you're married, because you're going to be married before you know it. So True story.
Yeah. It's coming up quick.
Looking to wrap up our chat this morning, 51 minutes into the show. We'd like to get this thing wrapped up by 55, 56 so we can get back on the loop. Natasha, how can folks find you? How can folks engage with you? How can you add value to somebody's life that's tuning in right now? What's the best way for somebody to connect with Natasha Wallstra?
Sure, I appreciate it. LinkedIn is where I pretty much spend most of my time, as you can imagine. I do like these free workshops. So you can book that directly in my featured section. It's a 20-minute workshop. They're really fun. I did one yesterday with this woman's, her husband who was looking for a job. And I just offered I can help you set some things up on the LinkedIn. Turned out he got a job by the time he booked it and then got a job and then still kept it with me. And so we did something a little different, but he ended up writing a recommendation for me yesterday that was just so holy crap. He just wanted to get it out. It was so wild. So they're fun is my point. If anyone wants to get a second eye on their LinkedIn and strategy for actual business development type of things, let me know.
Natasha, give our audience a nugget. Here's a sound clip. The one thing somebody can do right now to improve their LinkedIn profile, according to Natasha Wallstra.
Sure. Think about your favorite client you're working with right now and talk to them as you're building out your profile. So look at it and does this speak to them? Would they say, yes, this is what I did, how they helped me. This is and I'd be proud to share it to my network, right? Have a person in actual mind as you're looking at your profile. If it doesn't talk to them, change it.
Interesting. Do you need a website in 2024 or is your LinkedIn profile strong enough for a small business, medium business owner to grow a company?
I have a website. I built it over a weekend when I first started. So I don't really drive people to it because it has no anything for it, but it exists. So eventually I'll have to get that figured out.
No, I think you said everything. You said exactly what I wanted you to say. And not what I wanted you to say, but what I probably expect you to say, because you're right. What really is a purpose of a website in 2024? Right? So let's just talk about that, right? So to create a website, you got to send people there. You got to spend money on SEO. You got to send traffic there. In a world of AI generated content, is that really the best approach? Or there's a billion people on LinkedIn. There's a billion people there already. Go set up a profile, go set up a landing page and go engage. I don't know. Might be a better approach. Yeah.
Keith, I launched my business officially in December and I already had 9 clients before I had a website, before I had a name, You don't need any of the fluff, it was just crazy. I thought I did. And I was like, actually, people, you have an offer and people will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I just paused because I wanted to hang on that because you are so right. You are so right, Natasha, because too many people get caught up on, I got to get a .com. No, it's not 1984. Oh, I got to get a website and a bunch of brochures. No, it's not 1993. It's actually, you got an offer, go start talking about it. Just go start talking about it. There's a billion people on LinkedIn. There's maybe a few thousand people on X. There's a few million people on Facebook. Actually, they're all shopping in the marketplace though, but there's billions of people in the shop mall on Instagram. Just go there and start talking to people, right? Natasha, is this what you expected your experience would be when you got out of bed this morning to come join Keith and Nicole? You're like, okay, I got to go join these yahoos this morning. Was this as good for you as it was for us?
This is amazing. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you convinced me to come wake up at 5 to come into this.
That's awesome. Can you see what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
Can you see what we're trying to do here?
I do. I like it.
Awesome.
I'll be dialing in if I'm up again this early.
So Nicole, can you write this down? When's your wedding again? October
26th.
Okay, awesome. So we will be phoning you October 27th, live on the show. To see how you and hubby are doing. And because I'm looking to prank people, I'm like, I got an idea last night. Like, Nicole, we could prank people on our live show because that's like old school radio.
Do it. That's awesome.
Exactly.
I'm all for it.
Good, especially on the Pacific time zone, you're all for it. When Uncle Keith calls you, like, hey, Natasha, you want to come on the show right now? All right, before we say goodbye, Nicole Bernard, what do you got going on for today?
I'm going to try running right now. I'm trying to still figure out my routine. So I'm going to switch it up today and see how that goes.
Awesome. Natasha Wallstra, what do you got going on for today?
I don't know. I mean, I got some calls, got some good stuff. Gonna finish my coffee and then I'll figure that out.
Awesome. All right. So if you want a confident salesperson, you do not want to connect with Natasha Wallstra because she might not know what she's doing today until she has a few more cups of coffee.
Which is really good for you.
She's really good for you. All joking aside, Natasha Wallstra, very grateful you made your way to the lab this morning. Thank you for nominating Lucy Lachaud as our creator spotlight. I'm sure she's going to be quite surprised when we shine that light on and get this content out on the internet this morning. Nation, thanks for joining us this morning. Keith and Nicole are back tomorrow morning. Nicole, we got a guest again tomorrow morning.
Yay. Who?
Cody Hand. Cody Hand's joining us, another brand built member, Natasha. Cody has an offer, and he's looking to get his offer out into the world, doesn't know how to do it. So like, hey, why don't you come on the show? Let's talk about it, because I got an offer too. The offer is to come join us in the lab. So Cody's going to join us tomorrow, but we're going to get out of here. I got to go for a workout. Jimmy's going to get on to post-production. What's shaking Jimmy? He's going to do post-production for us. I'm going to go get a workout. Nicole's going to go for a run, and we are all going to see you tomorrow morning in the lab. But Nicole, today I have Dr. Labby joining me this morning at noon. No, it is Dr. Daniel Labby. He's a sports ophthalmologist. So we are going to talk performance and vision, I think. You know, we like to have interesting people in the lab at noon, right? So there we go.
That's awesome. Hey, will you ask him? I heard the other day we absorb the most vitamin D through our eyes. Will you ask him if that's true?
I will ask him if it's true. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning, whether vitamin D is absorbed much through the eyes.
Yeah, I'm interested to know. Okay.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Natasha, thanks for joining. Nicole, we'll see you tomorrow. Talk to you later. We'll see you guys all later. Ciao.
Thanks for having me. Bye.